Okay, hello Pietro, this is Pauliina. Are you hearing me, Fel? Can you hear me?
Hello, Pauliina. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you very well, thank you.
Okay, wonderful.
Okay, excellent. If I'm just going to start a few words in Finnish and then we're going to continue in English. Eli kyse on tällaista MODENA-hankkeesta, jossa mietitään Euroopan laajuista verkkodemokratian kehittämistä mulla on siis linjoilla myöskin tämän EU-hanke tai EU-hankesuunnitelma oikeastaan tässä vaiheessa. Ja mulla on täällä italialainen Pietro Speroni di Fenizio paikalla myöskin. Hello Pietro.
Hello, Pauliina.
Would you like to present yourself, where you are coming from?
Originally, I'm coming from Italy, but I'm working in Portugal, and I did a degree in mathematics, a PhD in bioinformatics, but then recently I moved into e-government and e-democracy, and that's what the research that I've been doing in the last years, in the last 3 years, in which I was working in Portugal, in fact.
So what we are going to do is I'm going to present you the sort of outlines, general outlines of the idea of the project, and then Pietro, who actually knows more about this project, is telling more concretely about the deliberation system that is going to be developed here. So I'm just going to show maybe 10 first slides, and then I give to Pietro the control of the scene.
One question, Pauliina. Right now I can see you. Okay, here we go.
Okay, good.
Perfect.
Okay,
yes.
Yeah, okay. Okay, good, excellent. So this is an ICT-enabled mass online deliberation system, MODENA, eli tietokoneavusteinen massa online neuvottelusysteemi. And this is an EU project that is being planned at the moment. We have applied funding for it, and we were just approved from the first stage, and the second stage is a second deadline is in October. So we don't know yet what's going to happen, but on a general level, the idea of the project is following. We're talking about the e-participation as an open online deliberation and open online collaboration theme, which means that we are interested in people or processes where people actually propose and exchange ideas, not just support someone else's plans. And we're trying to develop and conceptualize a deliberation process that would enable a fair and meaningful and productive process, and to provide a programmed support system for that. And when we have done that, we're going to test it first on a medium scale with the medium scale pilots up to the 1,000 participants. And the final stage will be a very large-scale multi-language and cross-border experiment. So basically the idea is that any topical issue that would be going on a European or a national level would be proposed for an open discussion online. And we would have a support system to assist this mass online deliberation. If this deliberation system will be validated, and it would be able to facilitate, for example, referendums or a European European citizen initiatives. What's taking place at the moment is that with developing, we have principles for this system, and we're just going through for a more concrete level of planning. So I'm just going through these principles that guide the development of the deliberation process. One is fairness, to get all the voices forward in the process so that they would be appraised by their value, regardless, for example, of the status of a person presenting the idea. The other one, which is sort of idea and uniqueness of this project, is the scalability. It should be able to host thousands of contributors. Third one is the informed opinion, which we discussed earlier today, is that people, or the participants, should have access to data in order to form informed opinions. The other one is, fourth one is the economy of efforts, so that participation would be possible for everyone, not just those that who are doing this on a full-time, as a full-time occupation. And the fifth one is robustness, how we can protect this kind of deliberation process that from the sort of mob attacks, from disruptive actions coming from outside. And one is that there would not be external moderation. We talked about this earlier today, about the self-organization, that the system should moderate itself with the need, no need for external action. So basically, everyone would have a possibility to participate on different, in a different ways. Whatever proposing something, commenting someone else's proposals, evaluating, voting, etc. And now I'm going to turn to Pietro for him to tell more concretely about the steps within the deliberation and collaboration process.
Okay, wonderful. Can you hear me? Can everybody else also hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, it's just opening right now, the slides. So I'm waiting for Adobe to open the slides. Just a second. Okay, so the big problem the key thing in all the research is how can you get so many people to participate in a way in which they can present ideas and not just vote on ideas of others. And this starts to become a real problem when we are actually facing 100 or 1,000 participants, because no single person can read all the ideas of everybody else. And we also don't want a single person to read everybody else's ideas, because that person would have a lot of leadership. So in a sense, the evaluation of the proposal have to be completely distributed on the system. Now, you know about a lot of feedback systems that they are around. Many people know, a lot of people are on Facebook, and they are the like button on Facebook, or they are the 5 stars on Amazon, and so on. Now, those are evaluate things on one dimension. One of the things that we want to do is actually evaluate things on 2 dimensions, so that people can evaluate a proposal that have been suggested, both in terms of the quality of the proposal, how well has it been explained, and then how much do we agree with that. Something can be explained very, very well, but I might not agree with it at all, or it can be explained poorly, but I could gather the idea and I kind of agree with the idea, and or it can be explained well and I agree with it, or it can be explained poorly and I don't agree. So those are pretty much independent. There is some connection between the two, but this is not the point, the moment to enter into this detail. Now, how do I here? Next. Okay, so the idea is that there is a question that has been posed by the authority, and then there are the experts that present the state of the art in this moment, what we know about it for in this moment. For example, just yesterday I was reading about the document from the IPCC about alternative energy. Now that's a document that does not say to the to the government what they should do, but it does say this is the state of the art for alternative energies. Those are the alternative energies that we know of in this moment, and this is the technology that we know of. And then it permits to the government to decide what to do. So in this case, it would be the expert would be the same group of people, but the people presenting the proposals would not be the government, but it would be the citizens. And so the citizens write all the various proposals and then evaluate each other proposals. And because of how we made those this division between quality and agreement on one side, quality on one side and agreement on the other, we can start to see what proposals share the same people that agree with them. Think a little bit at Amazon. You know that when you go to Amazon, you read a book and it says people who like this book also liked those other books, or in movie databases, if you like this movie, then you also would like those other movies. Now, in a sense, this is something similar. If you like these proposals, then those other proposals you might find it interesting. But then, from the outside, I can see, given a proposal, what other proposals are similar. So if I look at all the proposals as a graph, then I can put a weight on the edge between two proposals that represent how many people that agree with one agree with the other. And this has already been studied, and it is possible by putting a threshold to cluster then the group of proposals, and then each cluster would pretty much represent a general point of view or a general idea, somehow some way of ideas that can be connected together. And then we need to refine further those ideas, because at the previous level we might have 1,000 proposals or 10,000 proposals. They might be really a lot, and then we might have 20 clusters, but each of those clusters might contain 100 proposals or even more. So we need to refine each cluster of proposals so that eventually there is a single proposal from each cluster that represents the point of view of those group of people. And so it's going to generate, we're going to have working groups that work collaboratively to produce a proposal presented for each, that represent each cluster. And those are what we call the clarity seeking working group. That is, working group that try to express one idea and only one idea. Once we have produced this, we are going to generate another kind of working group that are trying to integrate the various ideas from different people. So it's some sort of trying to find a compromise between those different point of view. Let's go further. So at the beginning we have all the various clusters, and inside each cluster we clarify the idea with the clarity working group. Now one thing that is important is that there is no one from above that decides who those working group are going to be. Is going to be the website itself by interacting. It's going to be the website itself by seeing which people are interested in which proposals. Similarly, we are going then to make those integration working group, and they're going to work in parallel, and each of them will have the same input and will bring out different proposals, different final proposals. So each of those final proposals, which are down here, let's see if there is a drawing, maybe I can, those final proposals that are coming out, in a sense, each of them is the result of an integration of the various ideas. And so at the end, all the participants will be called to vote on those proposals and decide which one do they like. So in a sense, it's a linear process. And let's go a moment further than this. It's a linear process. We start from a group of proposals, we cluster those proposals, we clarify each idea inside each proposal, we integrate those ideas until we have a list of final proposals, and then we vote. And we vote using a Condorcet system or using Borda system, that is some sort of voting where people don't just express which one is the one that they prefer, but all the proposals, all those final solutions in order from the one they like most to the one they like least. And then using, by evaluating this voting, there is a huge field over here, which is voting theory. By evaluating this voting, we are going to go to a ranked result and what will be the suggestion from the system to the policymakers, what we think it should be done. The slide that I jumped was this one, and that is in each of those collaborative groups, they are going to be able to use a different tool to work collaboratively and to find their final solution. And they can use the Delphi decision making, they can use human-based genetic algorithm, they can use a wiki. There are ECO is another one. They can use multiple systems that are already available or that we might also develop in this system. And I think this is it. Yes.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
So Otavan Opiston would be doing one of the pilots and using most likely the Delphi,
Yes.
Delphi for this one. But does anyone have here questions, comments?
Onko kenelläkään kysymyksiä? Olla aika pitkä päivä takana ja vedettiin yleensä.
We are at the end of the very long day. Pietro, would you like to comment those feedback that we had from the evaluators?
Shall I ask now?
Yeah. Oh, there's a question?
Yeah.
I was just wondering about why do you exclude experts from making opinions in the system? You said that the experts, maybe academics and so on, would only provide data but not express opinions on the system. How do you? Why is that so? Why don't you take opinions from experts in the process?
Well, that's a good question. We tried to divide between facts and opinion, and somehow the people who are expert and that are working at the university or that have been working in a field, their position in the society is not so much to decide where the society is going to go, but is about studying a particular field. Then normally it's the policymakers. The base of democracy is that the citizen should decide. We could have another idea where experts are deciding, but then we would have to make a completely different system where essentially the experts are in charge. And you might not always, a lot of people might not like this. The idea is we are trying to bring a democratic system to the people and not a system where the experts are the one deciding. I don't know if I answered the question completely. So you asked me to comment a little bit on the feedback that we received.
Yeah.
Well, I think it was a really good feedback in a sense. If you wait a second, I might try to open it so that I can reread it and comment it line by line. Okay, here we go. Can you put it over there? In any case, I don't have.
Sorry, I can't actually because it's not my computer. Yeah.
Okay, so I'll read it. The proposal is clear and presents a well thought out concept that would be significant breakthrough with high relevance. It goes beyond current approach to participatory governance in several ways that are clearly delineated in the proposal. However, there is very little consideration given to the users. Their participation and contribution are almost taken for granted. I think that they have a really good point over here. One of the reasons why a lot of e-participation projects tend to fail is because people do not participate. Now, why exactly are people not participating? This is another issue, and Cyril has written a paper recently about it. In Russia, they had some very successful participatory system where thousands of people participated in deciding the new laws about the police. And the interesting thing over there is that the system was very simple, nearly Spartan, but it was very official, and people going there knew that they were interacting with the institution. They knew that the institution were going to take seriously their proposals. So somehow this is maybe what is missing in a lot of the e-participation system that we are seeing around. Either the questions are unimportant or the policymakers aren't really committed to look at them. So the way in which we are going to go around this, for example, for the big project, of course not so much for the local one, is that you know that if there is 1 million signatures that make a request to the European Union, then the European Union must take a stance. They must discuss that request in the European parliamentary. And so if we are able to generate enough discussion around Europe that the end result has a support that has at least 1 million people, then they have to, it's the law, they have to actually discuss it at the European Parliament level. So so in a sense we are saying this is an important issue. You can actually make a difference. And also remember that in this proposal we only could write 5 pages of pre-proposal. So a lot of the feedback that we received said essentially, well, those things are not explained well, so we don't know if the authors have it clear. And I think it's a fair comment. I mean, it was very difficult to present it well in 5 pages. Moderation, where we are. Usually when users are tagging content, they are almost usually doing so for their own benefit and not for altruistic reason. Really good point. In fact, if we add the tags, it would be made in a way so that people can find back proposals that they have tagged so that they can use it again. We did not have the time to explain this, and we are going to explain it in the full proposal. Moderation through software agents. Randomly appointed users could work only if based on throughout knowledge about users' motivation to contribute. I think there is a misunderstanding here. We are not considering to have any automatic moderation system. I mean, the automatic moderation system that we are going to use are not going to use the understanding, real language understanding. I forgot how it's called right now. So I think that there is a misunderstanding. We are actually not going to do what they maybe suggest here. So and yes, it's kind of difficult to do what they say. So I kind of agree. The novelty chart of the proposal is primarily derived from the scale and scope of this proposal. When it builds on smaller scale method and system, as the author acknowledged, it also goes beyond in the way the entire project is planned for development and testing. Nothing to comment over here. Nevertheless, it is not clear if the interdisciplinary team also include legal experts. We've replied on this, and we've invited a professor from Austria who is an expert in this, and I think he's going to join us. So to assess to which extent the proposed system is likely to disrupt existing legal framework and process. This proposal is plausible, though admittedly risky, because of the scale needed to achieve its goal. Now, this is very interesting. We are facing here two different risks. One risk is that not enough people participate. Another issue could be if a lot of people participate, but something doesn't go well. So, for example, a lot of people participate, but there are a small group that are able to use the system to present their point of view that is only held by a minority, but somehow by playing with the algorithm in some way, they are able to get that proposal as a winning proposal. We need to pay attention on this on one side. On the other, we need to really pay attention at the beginning, because we cannot change the rules while the system is running. And this is why we are thinking about making multiple systems, starting with a small pilot and slowly growing into bigger and bigger pilots. And of course, Pauliina, if there is anything you want to add in this, please feel free to interrupt me. And so the next point is the author make a good case for the proposal, but are not explicit about the software development required. That's again some of the limit of the 5 pages that we are going to enter more right now, or about the method for assessment of the proposal's impact. Yes, we have a paper that was presented right now at ePart just on this. It was presented about 1 week ago. So we are going to use a lot of that material for this. The required effort for detailed analysis of the large-scale online deliberation may be substantially underestimated. They might definitely be right, and we are trying to find ways to get over this. We are right now in the process of discussing what exactly do they mean. I mean, do they mean that we need to put more human hour on studying this, which also would mean to ask from the EU for bigger fundings, or does it actually mean that we have to explain this better, or does it actually mean that we have to put more? We have other ideas that we haven't actually inserted right now, and because we did not want to promise too much all at once, so we wanted to kind of see if it was necessary to use it or not, and we are considering if we should also add those extra ideas or not. And of course I can answer a specific question on those if you want. The briefly described work plan is reasonable, but the risk of having to deal with the complexity of multi-language deliberation is not convincingly discussed, and is not clear whether the proposal should avoid cross-language discussion. Now, one point, this is another point that we are discussing, that is, should it be only in English, should it be only inside the nation, or should it be a multi-language system? And right now the last suggestion was from a partner who have been working in multi-language translation before, and he suggested that our system should be able to work without the multi-language module, but we say that we are also going to to investigate and to put the multi-language model if it's possible. And one of the ideas is to have a mixed system where we use Google Translate at the beginning as a base of multi-language, but then we ask people to evaluate the understandability of the translation with the system we presented before. And when a proposal scores very low on understandability, then we ask someone who speaks very well both language, and we know who does this because people have been writing proposals before, and we ask this person to propose to translate the proposals. So this is I think it was a very good I think it was a very good feedback. I actually agree with the feedback, except for one line. For everything else, I agreed with it all.
Yeah,
what about you, Pauliina?
Yeah, I agree with you as well, and I think we have a very good picture of the challenges that we should solve before the next deadline. But yeah, we're working on them, or you are working on them actually.
Well, we are now in the process of defining the basic framework, and then we are going to open up more on the process. The fact is that we all would like to work collaboratively in developing all this, but we are so much spread around that we would actually need a Modena system just to develop the Modena system, a sort of bootstrap system, and that's a little bit difficult. So we are starting to use Skype, and it seems to be working well. So maybe we are going to do this.
Yeah, we're certainly participating soon. Well, thank you for this, and thank you for taking time to be with us here today. We're going to wrap up this session after this one. So
thank you very much for inviting me.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Bye.
Bye bye.
Selvä, kiitoksia. Jos jollain on jotain kysymyksiä, niitä ei voi enää kysyä.
Se on varmaan.
Se
on varmaan tähän aikaan päivästä ihan sallittua näin. Tämä on aika pitkä päivä. Kiitos kaikille.